33,000 people lived inside this. Not this neighborhood, this building. 6.5 acres holding more human beings per square mile than anywhere on Earth. 300 towers grew into each other until they fused into one mass with no architect, no blueprints, and no government anywhere willing to admit the place existed. You have seen it copied in 100 films as a neon crime pit. That version is mostly fiction, and the real story is far stranger than the myth. Because this was not a slum that failed. It was a functioning city of 40,000 that ran itself for 40 years while two empires pretended not to notice. It starts in 1898. Britain leases the new territories for 99 years, and China signs but carves out one small exception, written directly into the treaty. A Chinese garrison fort of roughly 200 by 120 meters stays Chinese. Officials may remain, 6.5 acres of Qing soil stranded inside British Hong Kong. Britain regrets that clause almost immediately. In April 1899, troops stormed the fort expecting resistance and find one Mandarin, one flag, and about 150 people. So Britain claims it anyway, and China never concedes it. For the next 50 years, nobody enforces anything, because enforcing anything means admitting who is actually in charge. Then the occupation arrives. Japanese forces need a longer runway at Kai Tak, so they tear the granite wall down and grind the stone into the new airfield. Remember that. The wall that named the walled city is now buried under an airport runway. It will come back to strangle the place in a way nobody predicted. 1945. Refugees pour into Hong Kong, and the one plot of land no police force will enter fills with squatters almost overnight. 2,000 by 47. A fire in January 1950 burns 2,500 huts and leaves 17,000 people homeless. They do not leave. They rebuild, and this time they build upward. With no permits and no inspections, there is only one rule. You may build as high as you like until an airliner takes the top off your roof. Kai Tak's approach path runs 800 meters away, so the ceiling lands at 14 floors. Every tower in the city stops at exactly the same invisible line. So it grows the only direction left. Sideways. Landings merge into corridors, corridors punch into neighboring blocks, and 300 separate buildings quietly become one enormous organism. The streets shrink to a meter wide. Sunlight stops reaching the lower floors entirely, so residents walk to work at noon under bare bulbs and dripping pipes. Above them, the wiring is all improvised, illegal cable knots into a canopy so thick it blots out whatever sky the towers had not already taken. 8 municipal pipes serve 40,000 people, so residents lay their own lines, rig electric pumps, and take turns sending water up to tanks on the roofs. Because no British license carries weight here, more than 150 dental clinics open on a single lane. Locals call it Dentist Street, and the prices are The factories are the real shock. At its peak, this single building produced roughly 80% of every fishball eaten across the whole of Hong Kong. Upstairs, a workshop turns out 10,000 golf balls a day, beside noodle makers, plastic flower assemblers, metal shops, weavers, and a toy line running through the night. The 300 roofs interlock into one continuous field. It is the only open ground the city has. Laundry aerials, homework, and jets passing low enough to read. Downstairs, the triads do run things for a while. The 14K and Sun Yan take the gambling, the heroin, and the brothels through the 50s and 60s. Then the police finally move. Across 73 and 74, they mount 3,500 raids, make 2,500 arrests, and seize 4,000 pounds of narcotics. It works. By 1983, the district commander says the crime rate is under control, and the walled city is measurably safer than the streets surrounding it. So by the 80s, this is not a lawless hell. It is a dense, self-governing neighborhood with schools, kindergartens, temples, and a postman who somehow delivers every And here is the twist. The wall did not just vanish. Ground into that runway, it set the flight path that capped every tower. The city was crushed by its own wall. What ended it was paperwork. Once Britain and China agreed on 1997, the legal blind spot that created this place simply stopped existing, and so did its reason to. On the 14th of January 1987, demolition is announced. 2.7 billion Hong Kong dollars buys out every resident, and by 1994, it is gone. Today, it is a lawn. 3 wells, a stone gate, and the old magistrate hall remain. 33,000 lives, and the density record they set still stands.